The ball hits the hardwood. The whole arena leans forward in their seats. Nobody in that building has any idea what's about to happen next. A man is about to catch a basketball, look his defender dead in the eye, and make him disappear. Not with a shove. Not with a shot to the face. Just with his feet, his hands, and about half a second of pure, cold-blooded skill. That's what this whole season felt like. From October all the way through June, the NBA turned into one giant blacktop court, and some of the smoothest streetball artists on the planet showed up to play. So grab a seat courtside, because we are about to relive the wildest, funniest, most jaw-dropping streetball moments the 2025-26 NBA season had to offer. Let's set the scene first. Basketball has always had two souls living inside it. There's the disciplined game, the one drawn up on whiteboards, full of spacing and rotations and pick-and-rolls. And then there's the other game. The one that was born on cracked concrete courts in New York City, in Los Angeles playgrounds, in gyms with no air conditioning and a crowd of strangers screaming for blood. That's streetball. It's basketball with personality. It's a game where the crossover isn't just a move, it's a message. Where a dunk isn't just 2 points, it's a headline. This season, more than almost any season before it, that streetball spirit crept its way onto NBA floors. Guys were doing things defenders had nightmares about. Kids were watching highlights instead of doing homework. And by the time the playoffs rolled around, half the league looked like they'd just walked off Rucker Park. So where do we start a story like this? We start with the handles. Because before you can finish, you have to get somewhere, and this season, some of these guards had bags that looked like they were smuggling entire toolkits in them. Let's talk about a guy who has been must-watch television since the day he stepped on an NBA floor. LaMelo Ball has always played like he learned basketball on a playground instead of in a gym, and this year was no different. Picture him out on the perimeter, ball on a string, rocking side to side like he's listening to music only he can hear. His defender is crouched low, trying to stay square, trying to survive. And then LaMelo does what he always does. A hesitation. A little shoulder dip. The defender bites, just for a heartbeat, and that's all the time LaMelo needs. He's already gone, blowing past on the left side, the defender spinning around like he just got caught in a revolving door. The crowd doesn't even wait for the finish. They're already up out of their seats, because they know what's coming. And a beat later, it's a smooth finger roll off the glass, so soft it looks like he set the ball down gently instead of scoring it. That's not just skill. That's flair. That's a man playing basketball like it's supposed to be fun, and this season, he brought that same energy night after night after night. Now let's slow down and picture another gym, another night, another guard doing his own kind of damage. Because handles aren't just about speed. Sometimes they're about patience, about making a defender dance to a rhythm only you control. That's the game Luka Doncic has always played, and now he was doing it in a new home, wearing purple and gold, carrying a whole new fan base on his back. Picture him standing near half court, barely moving, just holding the ball like he's got all the time in the world. His defender is nervous. You can see it. Because everybody in the building knows what a bored-looking Luka usually means trouble. Then, almost lazily, he takes one hard dribble to his right, plants his foot, and snaps back to his left with a behind-the-back move so slow and so deliberate that it should not have worked, except it did, because the defender was already leaning the wrong way, already off balance, already beaten before Luka even crossed him. From there, it's a step-back three, high arc, dead center, and Luka barely even watches it go in. He's already turning around, walking back on defense, like he already knew. This is the thing about real streetball players. They don't celebrate the easy stuff. They save their energy, their emotion, for the moments that actually deserve it. And this season gave us plenty of those moments. Let's go somewhere different for a second. Let's go to a night where a rookie walked into an NBA arena and reminded everybody why he was the most hyped young player to enter the league in years. Cooper Flagg had spent his whole life being told he was the next big thing, ever since his high school days, ever since his one electric season at Duke. Then the basketball world got its twist of fate. Dallas landed the top pick in the draft, the same Dallas franchise that had just shipped out Luka months earlier, and now here comes Flagg, stepping into a Mavericks jersey, carrying the weight of an entire fan base's hope on his shoulders. And in one of his early season games, we saw exactly why people believed in him. Picture him bringing the ball up in transition, 3 defenders back, no easy path to the rim. Instead of pulling it out and resetting, Flag attacks. He splits the defenders, ball low, shoulders squared, and just as the last man steps up to challenge him at the rim, Flag goes up and over him anyway, cool as ice, and finishes through contact. The whistle blows. The bucket counts. And the whole arena, even the road crowd, lets out one of those involuntary gasps, the kind you can't hold in even if you wanted to. That's the beautiful thing about a story like this season. It wasn't just the established stars putting on a show. It was young players stepping into the league and immediately speaking the same language of flash and fearlessness that the veterans had been speaking for years. Now, let's talk defense for a second. Because street ball isn't just about beating a guy off the dribble. Sometimes it's about making a guy look silly in ways that have nothing to do with a crossover at all. This season had no shortage of poster moments, the kind of dunks where a defender gets so thoroughly disrespected that clips of it start trending online within minutes. Picture Anthony Edwards on a fast break. If you know anything about this league right now, you know exactly what's coming. Edwards gets the ball with a full head of steam, one defender retreating in front of him, trying to draw a charge, trying to do anything to survive what's coming. Edwards gathers at the free throw line, and from there it's like watching a rocket launch. He explodes off 2 feet, cocks the ball back like he's about to throw a strike from the pitcher's mound, and comes down on that poor defender's head with a dunk so violent that half the bench actually stands up and starts yelling before the ball even goes through the net. The building shakes. Teammates are running over just to celebrate with him. Commentators are practically losing their voices. And the defender who got dunked on? He's already walking away, shaking his head, because he knows there's nothing he could have done differently. Some plays you just survive. This wasn't one of them. And it wasn't just Edwards. This was a season packed with these kinds of moments, players treating the rim like their personal stage. Let's take a trip over to San Antonio, where Victor Wembanyama has been quietly rewriting what people thought was even possible for a player his size. Imagine a defender, a grown man, a professional athlete, standing his ground under the basket, ready to take a charge or at least make Wemby think twice. Wemby doesn't think twice. He gathers the ball near the free throw line, and here's the part that still doesn't make sense even after watching it happen. A man that tall, with arms that long, still has the speed and the bounce of a guard. He explodes upward, extends that impossible wingspan, and throws down a dunk that looks almost cartoonish, like something out of a video game where you turn the sliders all the way up. The poor defender who tried to challenge it doesn't even fall down or get embarrassed in a dramatic way. He just stands there, frozen, staring up like he can't quite process what just happened to him. And somehow that's even funnier than if he'd fallen flat on his back. This season had that kind of magic sprinkled all over the schedule. But street ball isn't only about scoring on somebody. Sometimes the most electric plays never even touch the rim. Sometimes it's a pass, a read, a piece of vision that makes you wonder how a human being even saw that option in the first place. Let's talk about a night involving one of the smartest passers this league has ever produced. Picture the ball in Nikola Jokic's hands at the top of the key. He's not looking at the basket. He's barely even looking at his teammate. His eyes are somewhere else entirely, almost bored, almost distracted. And then, without any warning at all, he flicks a no-look pass through a crowd of defenders, threading a needle so precise it looks like it was drawn with a laser. The ball arrives perfectly in his teammate's hands, right in rhythm, right on target, for an easy finish at the rim. The defenders turn around confused, looking at each other like, wait, how did that even get through? And that's the trick with Jokic. He sees the whole court like a chessboard, always 2 moves ahead, and this season he kept using that vision to set up some of the flashiest, most streetball-flavored dimes we've seen from a big man in years. Now picture a completely different kind of pass, one built on pure chaos and instinct instead of quiet genius. Ja Morant, driving baseline, 2 defenders collapsing on him at once, no obvious way out. In half of these situations, most players would just pick up the ball and get stuck, or force up an awkward shot. Not Morant. In midair, falling out of bounds, he somehow whips a behind-the-back pass to a teammate cutting through the lane, a pass that shouldn't have been possible given the angle, the speed, the sheer impossibility of it. And that teammate finishes an easy layup while the crowd is still trying to figure out what they just watched. It's the kind of pass that gets replayed in slow motion 5 different times on the broadcast, because even in slow motion, it still doesn't fully make sense. That's the theme running through this whole season. Plays that don't make sense in real time, and somehow make even less sense when you slow them down. Let's shift the scene again, because no streetball story is complete without talking about buzzer beaters, those moments where an entire game, an entire building, an entire fan base's emotions come down to one single shot. Picture a tight playoff atmosphere. The kind of pressure where you can feel the tension in the arena just by looking at the crowd's faces. Clock winding down. Team down by 2. Everybody in the building knows who's getting the ball. That's usually the case with guys like this. Stephen Curry, even deep into his career, still commanding that kind of trust from his teammates and that kind of fear from the other bench. He receives the inbound near half court, takes one hard dribble to create just enough space, and lets it fly from a distance that makes the shot clock operator wince just watching it. The ball leaves his hand with that perfect signature rotation, that same shot fans have watched 1,000 times. It hangs in the air what feels like forever. And then it drops. Nothing but net. The whole arena just erupts, opposing fans included, because sometimes greatness is so obvious that even the other team supporters can't help but appreciate it. Now let's go somewhere with a different kind of ending, a quieter kind of confidence. Picture Tyrese Maxey working late-game isolation, defender draped all over him, switch happening right in front of everybody's eyes. Instead of rushing, instead of panicking with the clock ticking down, Maxey takes his time. One hard dribble left. A hesitation that freezes the defender for just a split second. Then a quick, sudden step back to create just enough separation, and up goes the shot, a smooth, high-arcing jumper that seems to know its own destination before it even leaves his hands. The defender contests late, hand in the air, but it's already too late. Bottom of the net. Game over. And Maxey doesn't even celebrate wildly. He just turns and jogs back down the court with that same calm expression, like he already knew how the story was going to end. That kind of composure, that kind of ice-cold confidence under pressure, that's streetball too. Because on the playground, everybody remembers who wanted the ball with the game on the line, and who didn't. Let's talk about somebody who has built an entire identity around that exact trait. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander doesn't play with flash the way some of these other guys do. He doesn't do behind-the-back dribbles just for style points. But make no mistake, what he does is just as deadly, just as streetball in spirit, because it's built on pure footwork deception. Picture him bringing the ball down the sideline, defender in front of him, arms out, feet set, doing everything textbook defense tells you to do. Shai takes one hard, choppy step to the outside, gets the defender's hips to open up just slightly, and then snaps back inside with a quick crossover that looks almost simple, almost boring, until you realize the defender is now 2 steps behind and completely out of the play. From there, it's an easy floater, soft off the glass, no contest at all. It's not a highlight built on flair. It's a highlight built on precision. And this season, he kept doing that same move over and over, to defender after defender, like he was running the exact same trick play from a different angle every single night. Basketball fans love the loud stuff, the dunks, the ankle breakers, the no-look dimes that make you gasp out loud. But real students of the game appreciate moments like these too, the quiet, surgical destruction of a defender's balance, one calculated step at a time. Now let's head over to New York, because if there's one place where streetball energy and NBA basketball collided perfectly this season, it was Madison Square Garden. The Knicks had one of those deep playoff runs that turns a city into a bonfire of noise and emotion, and along the way, we got moments that felt like they belonged more on a Harlem blacktop than on a professional court. Picture Jalen Brunson, undersized by NBA standards, getting switched onto a much bigger defender in a crucial playoff possession. Instead of backing down, instead of trying to work around the size difference carefully, Brunson attacks head-on. He goes hard right, plants, snaps back left with a quick, low crossover, and before the bigger defender can even react, Brunson has already blown by him, finishing at the rim with a tough, contested layup that somehow still goes in clean. The Garden crowd goes absolutely berserk. You can practically feel the noise through the screen. And somewhere in that crowd, there are people who remember watching franchise legends do the exact same thing decades earlier, and now they're watching it happen again, live, in real time. That's part of what made this whole season so special. So many of these moments weren't happening in empty gyms. They were happening in packed arenas, with crowds that turned every crossover, every dunk, every buzzer beater into a full-blown event. Let's talk about a name that might not be as famous as some of the others in this story, but who deserves just as much credit for keeping the streetball spirit alive this season. Imagine a young guard, not a superstar yet, maybe not even a starter on some nights, getting his moment in garbage time or in a meaningful stretch of a close game. He gets the ball on the wing, defender pressuring him tightly, and instead of playing it safe, he decides this is his moment to make a statement. A quick between-the-legs dribble, followed by an immediate hesitation, and the defender completely loses his balance, stumbling to the side like he just slipped on ice. The young guard calmly steps into a mid-range jumper, and it splashes through clean. His teammates on the bench are already up, laughing, pointing, replaying it in their heads before the broadcast even gets to show the replay. Moments like that don't always make it into the biggest highlight reels, but they're happening every single night across the league, little sparks of streetball brilliance from players who might not be household names yet, but who clearly grew up idolizing the same playground legends everybody else did. Now let's return to the big stage one more time, because no story about this season would be complete without talking about the moments that seemed almost impossible even by NBA standards. Picture a game deep in the second half, momentum completely shifted, energy building on every single possession. A player receives the ball just above the three-point line, defender draped all over him, physical, aggressive, trying to disrupt any rhythm. Instead of backing down, the player takes one hard dribble backward, creating a sliver of space, and pulls up from well beyond the arc, a shot so deep that even his own bench looks nervous watching it leave his hand. It hits nothing but net, and the arena practically levitates. The kind of shot that makes broadcasters just start yelling numbers, distances, anything to try to capture how far away that shot really was. That's the exact kind of shot-making confidence that defines modern streetball basketball. Not just making shots, but making shots from distances that used to be considered reckless, now treated as completely normal by some of these players. Let's slow things down again and talk about defense one more time, because streetball isn't only about offense. Sometimes the most humiliating moment in a game isn't a crossover or a dunk. Sometimes it's a steal, a moment where a defender reads a play so perfectly that the offensive player looks completely foolish in front of an entire arena. Picture a ball handler casually dribbling near half court, not paying close enough attention, maybe a little too relaxed after a comfortable lead. A defender, lurking just far enough away to look uninterested, suddenly explodes forward, timing the dribble perfectly, and rips the ball clean away before the ball handler even realizes what's happening. From there, it's a fast break the other way, and the defender who just made the steal finishes it off himself with an emphatic dunk, turning what should have been a routine, boring possession into a highlight reel double play, steal and slam in one continuous electric sequence. The crowd absolutely loses it, because there's nothing quite like watching somebody get robbed and dunked on in the same 5 seconds. Now, let's bring this whole story back around, because every great streetball tale needs a centerpiece, one single moment that stands above everything else, the kind of play that people will still be talking about years from now. Picture the fourth quarter of a tightly contested game between two rival teams, players from both sides clearly feeling the tension, every possession feeling heavier than the last. The ball ends up in the hands of a player known for his flair, known for treating big moments like an invitation rather than a burden. He's at the top of the key, defender locked in, crowd noise rising with every second that passes. He starts with a slow, deliberate crossover, side to side, almost teasing the defender, almost daring him to make the first move. The defender, understandably nervous, shifts his weight just slightly, and that's the exact moment the player has been waiting for. In one fluid motion, he drives hard to his strong hand, gets a full step of separation, and instead of finishing at the rim like everybody expects, he rises up for a pull-up jumper right in the defender's face, so quick, so smooth, that by the time the defender recovers his balance, the ball has already left the player's hand. It arcs through the air in complete silence, the whole arena holding its breath, and then it drops through clean, and the entire building just explodes all at once, teammates sprinting off the bench, opposing fans sitting in stunned silence, and the player himself just standing there for a moment, soaking in the noise, because he knows exactly what he just did. That's the kind of moment this whole season kept delivering, over and over again, night after night, arena after arena. It's easy to watch basketball and just see the score, the standings, the stats. But underneath all of that, there's this other layer, this streetball soul that never really left the game, no matter how polished or corporate it sometimes feels from the outside. Every single one of these players, from the biggest superstars to the guys fighting just to stay in the league, grew up somewhere with a ball in their hands, on a court with cracked pavement or a squeaky gym floor, dreaming about moments exactly like these. And this season, they got to live those dreams out on the biggest stage in the world. Think about everything we just walked through together. LaMelo Ball turning routine possessions into personal highlight reels. Luka Doncic freezing defenders with nothing but patience and footwork. Cooper Flagg announcing his arrival with fearless finishes at the rim. Anthony Edwards treating the basket like his own personal target practice. Victor Wembanyama redefining what a 7-footer is even supposed to be capable of. Nikola Jokic seeing passing lanes that shouldn't exist. Ja Morant defying the laws of physics in midair. Stephen Curry and Tyrese Maxey delivering ice-cold shots when everything was on the line. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander quietly dismantling defenders with pure footwork. Jalen Brunson bringing playoff basketball back to life in Madison Square Garden. And so many other players, some famous, some still climbing, all contributing to this incredible tapestry of skill, flash, and pure competitive fire. That's what streetball has always represented at its core. It's not just about winning. It's about doing it with style. It's about making the crowd gasp, making your teammates jump off the bench, making the person guarding you wish they were anywhere else in the world in that exact moment. This season had all of that, spread across 82 games, spread across a playoff run that had fans on the edge of their seats from start to finish. And here's the thing about streetball moments like these. They don't just disappear once the final buzzer sounds. They get clipped, shared, replayed 1,000 times over on phones and computers everywhere. Kids on playgrounds are already trying to recreate that Ja Morant behind-the-back pass, probably falling over in the process. Somebody's little brother is out in the driveway right now trying to hit a step-back 3 exactly like Luka does, missing badly, but still smiling because it felt cool trying. That's the real legacy of moments like these. They inspire the next generation to pick up a ball and start dreaming their own version of these stories. So as we close things out here, take a second and think back to your own favorite moment from everything we just covered. Maybe it was the poster dunk that made your jaw drop. Maybe it was the quiet, cold-blooded jumper with the game on the line. Maybe it was a no-look pass so perfect it made you rewind the clip 5 times just to understand what actually happened. Whatever it was, that's the beauty of this sport. It gives us these little pockets of pure magic, scattered throughout an entire season, waiting to be discovered, remembered, and celebrated. This has been a walk through the best streetball moments of the 2025-26 NBA season, a season packed with crossovers that broke ankles, dunks that broke spirits, and passes that broke the laws of common sense. And if history has taught us anything about this league, it's that next season is going to bring even more of these unforgettable moments, more players stepping onto the court trying to write their own chapter into this same, never-ending story. Until then, keep that same energy alive. Go out, grab a ball, find a hoop, and try to create just a little bit of your own streetball magic. Because somewhere out there, on some cracked court, under some flickering gym light, the next great highlight of tomorrow is already being born.